Hello, how you doing? Thanks for coming by. Welcome to my humble kitchen. I was going to record the video outside like I normally do, but it's so hot. I'm staying inside for the moment. So this week's topic is, what is a national treasure? It's not gold. It's not the crown jewels of the royal family. A national treasure is in fact a person who is admired, basically universally, who is adored for their achievements, how they have represented a particular country or nation's cultural concepts. It could be somebody who has been very successful at sport, or is a famous actor, or is on TV, a musician, somebody who has done fantastic things for charity, and at the same time is a nice person. The word national treasure is used a lot in the United Kingdom, but it's not easy to actually identify who is a national treasure, because this person has to be universally admired, and that's not easy. So the clearest example in the United Kingdom is Sir David Attenborough. David Attenborough recently celebrated his 100th birthday, which was celebrated by everybody in the UK like it was their own birthday. It was like, yay, David Attenborough is 100 years old today. Let's celebrate together. Isn't he a wonderful guy? In this week's article, we'll discover why Sir David Attenborough is the UK's national treasure. And here's a surprising fact. Do you know the idea that each person is just 6 steps away from everybody in the world? For example, I am just 3 steps away from Sir David Attenborough. That's because my sister used to live in the same house as one of his cousins. So my sister, his cousin, Sir David Attenborough. I'm just 3 steps away from David Attenborough. The only problem with that theory is that he's 100 years old and his cousin was older than him, so I don't think she's still alive. But I am 3 steps away from King Charles. But that's a story for another day. And a quick explanation of this week's photo. It's of a gorilla. David Attenborough began to become really famous in 1979 when he was filmed surrounded by a family of gorillas and was playing with them. It's an iconic scene. So, why is David Attenborough considered to be a national treasure? Let's find out more.
How does a person become a national treasure? Every country has certain people who seem to belong not only to their profession, but to the nation itself. They are admired not just for what they have achieved, but for what they represent. These figures are often described as national treasures, people who are deeply respected, widely loved and seen as part of a country's identity. Think of Maradona in Argentina or Dolly Parton in the USA. So how does someone become a national treasure? Usually it begins with achievement. These people often reach the highest level in their field, whether in sport, science, television, music, or the arts. But beyond success, there is usually consistency. Their career lasts decades and people come to trust and admire them over time. Personality matters too. Humility, warmth, humour, or a sense of public service often play an important role. Most importantly, they come to represent values that a country recognises in itself. One of the clearest examples is the British broadcaster and natural historian Sir David Attenborough. He recently reached the remarkable age of 100, and the whole nation celebrated his birthday with exhibitions, retrospectives, and a shared sense of pride in a life well lived. He is best known for documentaries such as Life on Earth, Planet Earth and Blue Planet, which have introduced millions of viewers to the beauty and complexity of the natural world. His calm voice, curiosity and passion for wildlife have inspired generations of audiences. His most famous moment, and probably the most famous sequence in the history of wildlife filmmaking, was during the filming of the groundbreaking Life on Earth. As he and the film crew explored the forests of Rwanda, they encountered a family of gorillas. Luckily for Attenborough, they were friendly and playful, and as the cameras recorded him lying down and playing with the youngest of the gorillas, a modern TV and natural history legend was born. However, Attenborough's contribution goes far beyond nature documentaries. During his career at the BBC, he became controller of BBC Two and later director of programmes, playing an important role during the arrival of colour television in the 1960s. He encouraged programmes that would take advantage of the new technology and helped shape modern television culture. While testing colour cameras at Wimbledon, he noticed that the white balls were difficult to see on the screen and suggested changing the colour of the balls. Not long after, the iconic yellow ball was introduced. Colour broadcasting also helped make some minority sports, such as snooker, hugely popular because viewers could now clearly follow the coloured balls on screen. Previously confined to dark, smoky clubs in the UK, snooker is now a global sport with an increasingly large following in Asia. He has also become one of the most respected voices in the fight against climate change and biodiversity loss. Many people admire him not only because he explains nature beautifully, but because he genuinely cares about protecting it, and at the age of 100, he is still on the front line. Another British figure often described as a national treasure is Judi Dench. Across theatre, film and television, her career has lasted more than 60 years. She is admired not only for her extraordinary talent, but also for her humour, warmth, and lack of pretension. For many people in Britain, she represents artistic excellence combined with humanity. But what about Spain? Does the same idea exist? Perhaps not as a common expression, but certainly as a cultural idea. Spain may not use the phrase national treasure as often as Britain, yet there are public figures who inspire a similar kind of affection. One possible example is Joan Manuel Serrat, whose music has been part of Spanish cultural life for decades. His songs are connected with memory, identity and language, and several generations feel a personal connection to his work. Another is Concha Velasco. Through theatre, cinema and television, she became one of the most familiar and beloved faces in Spain. Her energy, charisma and versatility made her more than a performer. She became part of Spanish cultural memory. A third possible candidate is Rafael Nadal. He is admired not only because of his victories, but because of his discipline, humility and resilience. Many people see him as a symbol of effort, respect and perseverance. What makes national treasures so interesting is that they tell us something about national values. They are not simply celebrities. They are people whose achievements, character and public presence become part of a country's shared story. Chat about these questions and write down your opinions and ideas. 1. Describe the picture in as much detail as possible. Do you like getting close to animals? 2. Have you ever seen one of David Attenborough's programmes? Do you enjoy nature documentaries? 3. Do you have memories of television in black and white? Do you like black and white photographs? 4. What national treasures do you have where you live? Describe them and their achievements. 5. What young people who are famous now might eventually become national treasures in the future.